People in our government. To start off, we need to discuss the differences between a state, a country, and a nation. To students, the terms state and country essentially have the same meaning. A state is a political community with definite boundaries and an independent government. Main political divisions within our country are states. The word nation refers to a group of people united by culture. We often use the terms nation, states, and country interchangeably. Next, we will discuss the 4 features of government. The first feature of government is population. Population refers to all the people who live within the state. A state is more likely to be stable if the population agrees about basic beliefs or has social consensus. The second feature of government is territory. Territory refers to the area within established boundaries. Territory can be a source of conflict among states and may change through war, negotiations, or purchase. The picture illustrated is the United States territory, which include Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. Sovereignty means the authority to conduct internal affairs without seeking approval from a higher authority or other nations. Our nation's constitution outlines our rights to sovereignty. The fourth feature of government is government itself. This means that the institution through which a state maintains social order provides public services and enforces the nation's laws. Government has several purposes. The first purpose that the government serves is making laws and punishing individuals who break those laws within social order. This political cartoon is a commentary about how sometimes wealth and power tend to disrupt social order. The next purpose for government is that it provides public services. Generally, these public services promotes the general welfare of the people, and this includes emergency services, Medicare and Medicaid, and public transportation. The next purpose of the government is to handle relations with other nations and protect its citizens from attack. Here we see Obama negotiating the end of the 54-year stretch of hostility between the United States and Cuba. It makes influential decisions. These decisions influence the nation's economy and laws. Next, we will discuss the formation of governments. Most large countries have several levels of governments. The unitary system refers to a central or national government that has supreme power. They often create lower levels to govern smaller units and give those agencies limited authority. The next one is a federal system of government. This refers to how central and regional governments share powers. The U.S. created a federal system. The most blatant example of this is our 3 branches of the government and our appeals court system. The Constitution. Within many formations of government comes a ruling doctrine. The United States has a constitution, which is a plan for government. It expresses national ideas in the preamble, stating the goals and the purpose of the government. The main body of the document describes the basic structure of the government, defines the powers and duties of a government, and lists the powers clearly limited by the Constitution. Here we see the famous starting line of our Constitution, "We the people," and below is a painting of our nation's forefathers drafting this essential document. Another basic element to the formation of governments is politics. Politics refers to the effort to control or influence government conduct and policies. It provides a peaceful way for society to manage conflict and competition. In the United States, when referred to politics, we typically think of our 2-party system. Next, we will cover the types of government. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle identified 3 types of governments. The first type of government identified is an autocracy. An autocracy refers to a system of government by one person with absolute power. The second type of government identified is an oligarchy. An oligarchy refers to a small group of people having control over a government or country. It's democracy. Essentially, this means rule by many people. The key idea behind democracy is that people have sovereign power. A direct and absolute, pure democracy means that people vote on every single issue. Many nations rely on indirect or a representative form, which the people elect representatives who they delegate the power to govern. The U.S. is an example of a representative democracy, in which the people elect lawmakers and a head of state, essential characteristics. The first one is to promote individual liberty or equal opportunity for all. Democracy's second is that it is based on a majority rule with minority rights, meaning the minority rights must be protected, no matter how alienated a minority is from the major society. Otherwise, the majority's rights lose their meaning. Required elections, in which candidates can express their views freely, voting requirements are few, and each person's vote is equal and cast by a secret ballot. And the last one is that it allows for competing political parties with different approaches to issues, or to give voters a choice. The next element of government is economic theories. The first theory is capitalism. Capitalism has 5 characteristics: private ownership of property and resources, free enterprise, business competition, freedom of choice, and the possibility for profits. It is important to note that no nation has a pure capitalist system. The US has a mixed market economy in which free enterprise or capitalistic practices are combined and supported by government influences. Under socialism, the government owns the means of production and makes most economic decisions. It typically has 3 goals: public ownership of most land and the means of production, government control over most economic decisions, and equal distribution of wealth. Socialists believe that workers should share equally in the benefits of production. Some examples of modern socialistic economies exist within most Scandinavian countries. The last theory is communism. Communism holds that history is a struggle between 2 classes: the bourgeoisie, who owns the means of production, and their power to oppress the proletariat, or the workers. The struggle typically ends in a violent revolution, after which the government owns the means of production and distribution. In time, one class will evolve, property will be held in common, and there's no need for a government. In communist systems, as they exist today, all decisions are made at the upper levels of government. When we think typically of a communist country, we think of the USSR or China. And that is the end of our government and people lesson.